A commercial kitchen operating at volume is an exercise in managing hundreds of volatile physical variables simultaneously. Heat, timing, biological risk, and labor all collide on the line. But physical execution is only half the operation. To municipal health inspectors and corporate auditors, reality is defined strictly by documentation. If an action isn't logged, signed, and filed, it didn't happen. You can run a visually spotless kitchen, scrub down every surface, and serve perfect food, and still instantly fail a Ministry of Public Health audit if your administrative records are incomplete. General managers face a specific problem. They have to guarantee safety, consistency, and cost control across all of these variables every single day, without relying on assumptions. This is a structural reporting matrix. It solves that problem by dividing administrative control into 3 distinct operational layers: daily execution, weekly auditing, and monthly strategy. This specific matrix bridges the gap between achieving rigid regulatory compliance and driving actual financial profitability. Proper administrative architecture is not bureaucratic friction. It is the only true legal defense and profit protection mechanism in commercial food service. The daily layer is the tactical foundation of the restaurant. It is where physical action must be translated into verified hard records. On the financial side, this requires the manager's daily end-of-day log. This document captures the shift's absolute reality, tracking net sales directly against budget targets and recording exact labor cost percentages. On the safety side, you have the HACC CCP and food safety logs. During a surprise inspection, these logs serve as your primary legal defense. This visualization maps the temperature danger zone. Foodborne bacteria multiply rapidly in environments between 5 degrees and 65 degrees Celsius. By tracking refrigeration and hot holding units shift by shift, daily logs prove with hard data that all inventory remains safely outside these biological risk parameters. Logging requires physical verification. Shift supervisors must sign off on the master cleaning schedule, proving that complex equipment like slicers and dough machines were actually dismantled and sanitized, rather than just wiped down on the surface. At this daily layer, the critical administrative rule is absolute completeness. Health auditors categorize any blank space on a daily log as an immediate compliance failure. The physical condition of the kitchen in that moment is irrelevant if the paperwork is missing. The daily layer forces a facility to prove its operational reality in real time, stripping all assumptions and guesswork from the management process. Moving one level up, the weekly layer shifts management's focus. You transition from executing daily tasks to actively hunting for systemic anomalies. Financially, this means aggregating those daily waste trackers and labor sheets to generate the prime cost and cost of goods sold reports. Identifying a pattern of daily waste allows management to pinpoint overordering and correct them before they destroy the entire month's profit margins. For safety, this is when the weekly food safety and compliance audit takes place. You move beyond checking daily temperatures to verifying the integrity of the physical infrastructure itself. Looking at this excerpt from the official Food Safety Code of Practice, we can see the extensive scope of management tracking required, spanning all the way from supply traceability down to handling nonconformances. Section 8.3 explicitly dictates that facilities must have a formal protocol in place for whenever infrastructure elements fail inspection. This requires physically auditing chemical storage safety, testing the functionality of pest control devices, and ensuring high-risk materials, like wooden utensils, are completely segregated from food contact areas. As detailed here in Section 8.3.4, when a nonconformance occurs, the documentation requirements are incredibly strict. The records must explicitly state the exact time the equipment was brought back into compliance, the detailed actions taken to fix the problem, and the verifying signatures of the assigned personnel. By aggressively hunting for variances, the weekly layer prevents isolated daily anomalies from quietly mutating into catastrophic systemic failures. The monthly layer is the strategic review phase. It aligns internal kitchen operations with external vendor services and evaluates total profitability. The financial control here is the formal profit and loss statement review. Management uses the aggregated weekly data to set cost correction strategies for the upcoming month. Safety oversight also scales up, relying on the preventative maintenance and calibration log. This log securely archives all third-party compliance data, maintaining active certificates for essential services like grease trap pumping, exhaust hood cleaning, and appliance calibration. But what happens when the weekly audits reveal a recurring breakdown? Suppose appliances are repeatedly found without calibration stickers, or staff are consistently failing the public health exam. In these scenarios, management cannot simply treat the symptom. They are required to execute a formal corrective and preventative action plan, known as a CAPA. This flowchart illustrates the root cause analysis phase of a CAPA. Using the 5 whys methodology, management digs past surface-level excuses. A symptom is the staff forgot. The root cause is a gap in training or a failure in the daily supervisor checks. Once the root cause is identified, the CAPA response relies on 3 required pillars: an immediate fix, a systemic process implementation, and a verification method. The immediate fix stops the bleeding, like throwing away compromised food. But the systemic fix repairs the architecture, such as establishing a mandatory signed receiving log for all future deliveries. Finally, the verification method provides the auditor with physical proof of exactly how management checks that the new systemic fix held up over time. A properly executed CAPA plan takes a severe compliance failure and transforms it from a legal liability into a permanently documented operational upgrade. These management reports do not exist as isolated bureaucratic chores. They form a single, interconnected circulatory system. Looking back at our fully populated 3-tiered administrative matrix, the architecture becomes clear. Data flows horizontally. Daily waste trackers feed directly into the weekly COGS report, which then aggregates to build the monthly profit and loss statement. Simultaneously, a secondary flow occurs on the compliance side. Daily temperature logs drive the weekly infrastructure audits, which in turn generate the monthly CAPA files for any systemic errors. This means that flawless daily execution automatically generates the raw data required for the weekly audits, and that precise weekly auditing provides the exact verified information needed to make high-level monthly strategic pivots. It completely dispels the paperwork fallacy. Administrative logs are the exact mechanisms that identify waste, align labor, and protect your gross margins. The end result is an environment of total administrative control, where every physical action on the floor is accounted for on paper. Implementing this rigorous framework allows elite operators to manage hundreds of volatile variables with complete confidence, because a 3-tiered architecture guarantees that the operation is simultaneously impenetrable to inspectors and optimized for maximum profitability.